What's going on, world? It's your boy Jason with another installment of What Will It Take? Today we got a special guest. So my cat, say hello, Cyrus. So sorry if he disrupts the commentary for a minute, but just wanted to go right in and discuss the Supreme Court decision, which changed some of the campaign finance reforms and changed some of the regulation, and wanted to really get the larger picture because I know there's a lot of confusion and everything going on, and just really wanted to get the larger picture as opposed to concentrating on the actual verdict itself. Well, just to summarize what it stated and what happened is the Supreme Court essentially allowed certain donors to contribute to more than extend the previous limit of politicians they were able to donate for. So in a nutshell, they didn't really increase the limit per se, but they allowed you to give that limit to more people. And additionally, they allowed you to give sort of unprecedented amounts to second or third parties who could then choose to give the money to that individual. So it sort of allows for greater corruption potentially, in that these second and third party groups, you could have the money kind of lined item to go to this particular candidate that you've already maxed out on your donations for, and it could kind of work that way. And the issue is that, some of the regulation that happened post Watergate and the inspiration of such was just to try and get some standards in voting, is that money could overshadow the individual person. But the trend of this Supreme Court as of late has been to reverse that, and it basically is stating that money equals speech. That somehow if someone has more money, then they just have more speech than you, and that money is a tool of speech. And I can go into how I starkly disagree with that, but rather than give opinion on that matter, this is kind of the motion that's going on now, that you can't obstruct people's ability to want to voice their opinion in elections, and if that mechanism happens to be money, then so be it. With the Citizens United decision before, that basically allowed corporations and considered them as people in a way, and allows them to give unlimited amounts of money anonymously to political campaigns. And the Citizens United thing, to me, that was actually more taxing and disturbing is the danger that it gives international influence. Because corporations are people, but we all know corporations are not domestic or national. There's literally no corporation that doesn't have international involvement, international investment, international stakeholders, international holdings, works, or something. So there's international influences going on with those corporations. So we're basically saying that we are allowing anonymously international people, whoever they are, and there's no standard with that. It's just if they have money, so corporations really don't have any standards for who can invest. If it's a publicly traded corporation, it's anybody, like someone like Hitler, could invest and be a shadow person, or, so we don't really know what's going on. So I think it opens up the system to have non-citizens influence the system. And what this verdict did a couple of days ago was essentially allow a certain pocket of citizens to control elections even further. Now, to show how polarizing and sort of partisan I believe this is that this verdict only affects about 650 people. Because only about 650 people, and this is an estimate, matter of fact, I will say 700 just to make sure I'm not undercutting the number. So it only affects about 700 people in the country who have actually achieved the maximum amount of donations. So that's representative of 0.0000019% of the population. 600 people. That's not a town. That's not a municipality. That's like smaller than one of the smallest towns in America. So essentially, we went to the Supreme Court for allowing the millionaires and billionaires who could ever achieve the limit. And let's talk about what the existing limit was. And the existing limit with the pre-existing structure was about $100-something thousand a year was the limit that you could donate. And if we look at the average American, and with those kind of inflated numbers, the average American's making between $40,000 and $50,000 a year as a family. So the max almost triples what the average American family is making in total. So as you can see, this is a problem that's only affecting the rich. And then the super rich that are giving maximums, again, at no more than 700 families. So it's allowing these 700 families to have more influence than they already had under the system, which was already inherently imbalanced, and tilted towards them to have greater influence. Because we have all the studies in the world that show the greater the repetition of the commercials, regardless of how factual they are, they influence people. They influence elections, and they actually have a statistically verifiable effect on results. So just allowing money to just enter is affecting, and it's not really getting down to what politics are. So in essence, you're allowing, let's say, some billionaire that lives in California to affect local politics in West Virginia or Maine because they have enough money to do so. And if you feel like that's American in any way, that's crazy. I mean, you might have a leg to stand on if it's in terms of federal politics, but I would still have an argument if you're going to affect Maine's senator that's federally, going to be representing things, as it's supposed to be Maine's representative, that someone in California can have an effect on that. I have some type of inherent thing that politics is supposed to have local representation and local money. But, we could go into a larger argument. What I could see the argument that they would have there. But to suggest that, you could affect school boards and you're going to, city and state management with all of these millions of dollars, I think is just manipulation. And to sort of round this out about the thing that makes it so funny is like you hear all the right-wing people and wealthy people trying to tell people to pull each other up by their own bootstraps, to stop relying on government to do what you want, and to just be a man and step up and pull up your own bootstraps. But what are the rich people doing? They have just now effectively argued to use the government for their own means and to allow them to use it further. Like that. What do you think that donating millions of dollars to campaigns is? That's influencing government and using government completely and totally, while they're telling you that you're weak to do so, that you're stupid to do so. In addition, they're spending millions of dollars to stop you from voting. So not only are they telling you not to use your government, but they're actively pursuing state governments in places where they don't even live to make sure that you don't have the opportunity to vote. So even if you chose to not listen to their advice, they're trying to stack the deck on both sides. So it's like, do as I say, not as I do. While they're calling you weak for socially organizing, they're socially organizing with millions of dollars. It's hypocritical and it's insane that we would fall for this. And they're telling you voting doesn't matter. Statistics show that less than 60% of people vote. But look at the wealthy people. They're not only voting by 90%, they're donating all of the money. So what is that telling you? Like, you sitting there and not voting and saying it's all nothing and politics means nothing, it's quite frankly stupid. It's stupid. It's not what any millionaire is doing. It's not what any billionaire is doing. It's not what any mover and shaker is doing. You're not hearing anybody that's of wealth telling you to stay out of politics and not vote and that it all doesn't matter, and their actions are proving it. They're even taking it all the way up to things like the Supreme Court. So, Osiris seems to be upset about it too. So, I mean, just until next time, just really think about what's going on. Just don't be a drone. Don't sit there and just listen to what they're saying and actually look at what's going on. So until next time, what will it take? It's your boy Jason.